When I first read this script, I mean, similar, I can't stop turning the pages would be the equivalent of I can't stop watching this film.
You don't know what's going on with everybody.
You know, the first time through, you're just like, wow, this is really out there, and I'm trying to figure it out. And then you go back and the second time around, you see how carefully written it is and what he's building.
Like what he was able to create in his writing and directing is so cool. I can't compare him.
And I feel my blood pressure go up, my heart race. I just felt excited and the creative wheels turning.
Hi, Carrot. It's Mom. I'm just calling to say that I'm so excited to see you tomorrow. You're my angel, and I love you. Okay, I love you. Okay, bye, sweetie. I love you.
Wow, what an amazing film. I saw it last night. As a viewer, I'm sitting through this 3-hour movie thinking I can't take my eyes off of this. What is your take when you read a script like this? Amy, let's start with you.
When I first read this script, I mean, similar, I can't stop turning the pages would be the equivalent of I can't stop watching this film. And I feel my blood pressure go up, my heart race. I just felt excited and the creative wheels turning.
What about for you, Nathan?
Well, I felt like I needed to read it twice. Maybe, hopefully that'll help. That'll be what audiences feel about the movie. I needed to, the first time through, you're just like, wow, this is really out there, and I'm trying to figure it out. And then you go back and the second time around, you see how carefully written it is and what he's building with this surreal nightmare. And then of course you meet him. We meet by Zoom, and he couldn't be sweeter or more adorable, and just such a smart, funny, brilliant guy. And it was like, yes, this is somebody you want to work with.
Welcome back.
I hit you with my car.
What?
I know.
Been a fan of yours since Party Girl.
Oh, come on.
True. Solid. Like when it opened, I'd heard all the buzz, and I was like, oh, who is this girl?
And did you hear it's having its re-release?
I did.
Isn't that wild?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I'm a terrible business person, but somehow the film got lost and no one could find it. And so now 30 years later, they found it, and they're having a re-release. And at the IFC in New York and a couple of Lemley theaters in LA. Yeah, there's a whole generation that, where people just really loved it over the years.
Yes.
And it's like, where is this? So, yeah, it's neat. I'm having like a full circle moment.
You
right?
are.
Yeah,
It's horror kind of comedy horror, I guess.
yeah. I think it's like a Kafkaesque fable what Ari did. Like there's so much writing in this. There's so much like character work. The characters are so archetypal, and they elicit such incredible, feelings of. You don't know what's going on with everybody. You don't know what he was able to create in his writing and directing is so cool. I can't compare him to, I guess some like Harold Pinter, different like writers that really have a point of view and how they see humanity and how, and behavior. I just think he's just so cool. I'm happy to have been a part of this.
You will walk many miles. Dozens will become hundreds. Hundreds will become thousands. Your adventures will continue for years and years.
I just need to get home.
I know.
Well, you guys have both of you had this really beautiful chemistry, in the fact that these are real people, but so exaggerated. Was that kind of difficult to find the balance of bringing a realism to it in this crazy mixed up world.
I mean, to
you-
a certain degree, I think there's maybe with Roger there's something performative going on because he's playing a role. He in a sense he's hiding something, and so his maybe his demeanor is a little more heightened than usual. But he's also a very upbeat dad humor kind of guy who would like to think of himself as hip, but he's really not. And I think it's a family that's been through a lot. They lost a son in the war, and they have a teenage daughter who's troubled and has drug issues, and
an adopted son.
and
who's
an
troubled.
adopted son with post-traumatic stress syndrome, and my wife I'm keeping heavily medicated. This
Even
is,
now.
even now is this is a very dysfunctional family, but obviously they've taken on this assignment, let's put it that way. And so, they're...
I like to think Roger and Grace got this job because they're very good at keeping up this kind of bright, letting the light in exterior. Especially you go from the first quarter of the film, which is so dark and so nightmarish, and you catch your breath and you think all's going to be well when you meet us. And it's just a different turn on, as Nathan said, a sinister world where things aren't as they appear.
So what struck me about seeing this movie was like a lot of the physicality of the characters, right? There's a lot of strong physical choices, and they really hold the space, like Nathan Lane and Amy Ryan. Like, there's just such energy to these performances.
And you.
And me,
this is
and
a lot.
Joaquin, and that the young actress who's remarkable, and the pitch of performance in this movie is just fantastic. It's great.
It's hard to
And
imagine.
it's a genre, it's its own thing, so it can really hold that intensity, right?
Yeah, I mean it's amazing too in a day and age where we're like, oh, okay, 3-hour movies, but you don't feel it. You
No.
don't feel this at all.
From the opening shot, right?
Right. Yeah. Now, were you familiar with his earlier work? Were you familiar?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I saw Hereditary on an airplane, and then I went home and watched it again. But it had it. I just when I entered into my home, I just knew, like, he reminded me of of Stanley Kubrick and the Shining. When filmmakers can really like touch you in a way that you don't forget. You don't forget the feeling that a movie like Hereditary gives you, or Midsummer, and it's needed. I think that's why the young people really love him, is they like speaking to something that is very now, and it's got energy, and you don't really know what to feel. It's complex. I think he's great.
Why did you lie to me?
Do you want the truth now?
What about Patti LuPone?
Everyone's great. Yes, you're right. She's a dream, man.
Isn't she incredible? So I got to meet her. I got to hang out, and we stayed in some hotel outside of Montreal, and we rehearsed during the day and shot all night. We'd show up at like 1:30, and Joaquin and Ari just worked hand in hand, and because we just, I worked on camera like 2 days. So I think Patty maybe worked 2 days. So there's a lot to kind of ground in the performances to make sure that it's going to be at the level, and you don't necessarily rehearse them. You just kind of, everyone feels each other out and what the vibe is, and you look at pictures of the set and things just to make sure that the world that you're entering in is the right one. So when I saw the film, I was like, wow,